Please welcome your host, Mark Stevenson.
You're too kind. Thank you very much. Good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen, and great to see you all here. So many of you turning out for tonight's Fans Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's special guest is the man who joined the Stags over 4 years ago, with the team at the time languishing third from bottom in Sky Bet League 2. Since then, he has masterminded a historic promotion, leading the club to the third tier of English football for the first time in over 2 decades. And despite the current winless run, the club's objective of survival remains very much in the Stags' hands, with 14 games to play. And he's here tonight to answer your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome please the manager, Nigel Clough.
Thank you, Steve-O. It was going great until you mentioned the winless run. Everything was absolutely fantastic until then.
Well, I thought it was all true.
Yeah, well, it was, yeah. Unfortunately, the winless run is as well, so yeah.
How are you? Let's talk about the season then. So 14 games to play, as I say.
Yep.
What's your synopsis of the season?
Up and down. We're pretty much where we thought we'd be, probably if you'd have asked us at the start of the season. But the way it's gone in terms of the wins, the losses, the wins and losses, with them being such extended runs, has made it much more difficult. If the results had been spread out over the 32 games a little bit more, I think we'd be in a better place.
Ladies and gentlemen, there have been so many memorable moments so far this season in Stags' return to League One. So many great times to savour. Let's reflect on some of them and look back on the best bits so far this season. What about that, ladies and gentlemen? You must be so very proud looking at some of those moments. What's been the highlight right at the top of the list?
Hope it's still to come this season. The first game at Barnsley certainly was very memorable. Our first one back in League One for so many years, and to get the victory and 2 fantastic goals. So that's as much as anybody got us off to a good start. And you never know, it might be the win that keeps us in the league.
Let's hope so. We'll open up the floor later in the first half, ladies and gentlemen, but in the weeks prior to tonight, we have had a dozen or so submitted questions via email, and we're going to start with one from James Radford, and it's quite a long one. He says, in the summer and in January, you said you were happy with the squad and who we had available. This was prior to the arrival of Vickers and Rhodes. He goes on, but given the consistency of injuries to this group of players through recent seasons, do you think an opportunity was missed to strengthen certain positions which are now lacking? Were you just hoping, he says, for more luck with injuries, or were additional strategies in place to mitigate a worst-case scenario? He then adds, I'd also like to add that I think Nigel continues to be a fantastic figurehead for the club and has been the very best manager we've had in a very, very long time. I think the majority of fans, including me, that is him, will continue to show...
Not you, then.
Well, I count myself in that, at a push. We'll continue to show him our full support despite all of our frustrations at the drastic downturn of fortunes and results, knowing if anyone can turn things around again, it's going to be him.
Thank you. I've forgotten the question. The injuries, very difficult because we've got a full squad. We're only allowed so many players, which is 21, 22. So it was full in January. So we couldn't have brought anybody in, even if we wanted to. And that was with putting Rhys Oates outside of the squad as well. So we couldn't have brought any more players in unless they were under 21s, which don't count. So we were pretty happy. We've got no crystal ball. We didn't know that 4 players, we were going to lose 4 defenders within an hour or 2 against Lincoln. Nobody can predict that. But it was a numbers issue more than anything, apart from bringing youngsters in, which we brought young Kaelin in, who's done very well. But they've got to be of a certain standard at that age, I think, to compete in League One.
Similar question here from Craig Plowman, but a slight nuance. He asks, do you feel the transfer business we did in January was sufficient when there was already a question mark over the fitness of both Lee Gregory and Rhys Oates? And did we identify other targets where moves were not sanctioned for whatever reason by the club?
No, just because of the numbers issue, as I've just explained. We couldn't bring any more players in over 21 years old. So happy to get Jordan Rhodes in. We should have put one of his chances away against Northampton, which he's been doing for the last 10 or 15 years. Kaelin, and at that point, Lee Gregory's knee was okay, and then he hurt his knee a week after the transfer window. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't predict that. But as I say, it's purely numbers. No moves were not sanctioned by anybody. We've just put the ones that we thought to the chairman, and we got the couple in that we got. But it was numbers. Unless we deleted somebody from the squad, we put Callum McDonald back in the squad because we had a spare place. Wish we hadn't after Sunday now. Never mind. You missed his goal off, actually. His first one was as good as his second one. But a good striker's finished his first goal. We spent all week saying, let's keep things tight, not give anything away, and within 2 minutes, he goes and rattles one in his own net. So all out the window within 2 minutes again. So we just put him back in the squad because we wanted cover down the left-hand side as well. So no, there was no moves that we wanted or players that we wanted. And January is notoriously difficult for bringing players in anyway. Hold on to them right to the death. We inquired about a good few players, but we got what was available.
And I think you've answered a question from Andy Butcher within those two answers, so we'll move on. But still speaking about the January transfer window, Mick Smith from Forest Town, he says, I'd like to know why it was left to the last 15 minutes of the summer transfer window to announce the sale of Davis Keeler-Dunn, when it was clear he told everybody when he reported back to training in July that he wanted to move away from the club. In my opinion, that is Mick's, he's been a massive miss, and think we missed out on a great opportunity to sign Dan Crowley from Notts County as a replacement.
Well, we bid for Dan Crowley and they turned it down, as we turned down Barnsley's bids for 3 or 4 weeks until reaching a final figure late on transfer deadline day. That's how it works. And we offered an awful lot of the fee for Dan Crowley on deadline day as well. Notts wouldn't sell him, and ended up selling him in January to MK Dons, where we inquired also in January about him. He got 6 months left on his contract, and I think he went for over £400,000. And his wage that he got at MK Dons would have put him by far the highest paid player at this club.
Next one from Charlie Collins. Are there plans to reduce the average age of the squad in the summer? And why do we keep signing older players, although I realise that they have contributed massively to our recent success?
Well, he's just answered his own question, I think. That's why we signed them, because they've contributed massively to our recent success, as he says. We will naturally come down in the summer, yes. We thought we needed experience to get out of League Two, and I don't think anybody can deny that the older players, Stephen Quinn, Lucas Akins, Aidan Flint and so on, played a major role in that. And this year we think we need them to keep us in the league if we had them available. But next season it will certainly be a moving on, and some of the older players will naturally move on and be replaced by younger ones. They're the ones that we can get. If they were 28 and this good, they're playing in the Championship or whatever. You know, we can't get them when they're at their prime. We have to get them when they're a little bit older, but they're still good players, good pros, and can still have an effect and an influence on the team.
One from Nick Morehouse. He asks, with a number of players in several key positions very much in the twilight of their careers, how much focus is there on the reality that key positions need clear succession planning in the very near future?
Yeah, we've got that in there once we get through to the summer. We've identified younger players already, and then we take it from there. As I say, it's an evolution, and the players that are, Quinny won't go on another season, we know that, and there will be a natural reduction, and we'll probably get a few younger loans or something like that in as well to bolster the squad.
Another question from James at Radford. He asks, a lot of supporters are talking about a potential issue with the surfaces at the training ground as a cause for the abnormally high amount of injuries each season. Is there any truth in this?
They've not been ideal this season. For some reason, we did the usual, work in the summer, and they deteriorated quite early, which I think was mid-December. The physio is the one who highlights it. He allocates and says what is the cause, obviously, for injuries. And he's put down 3, maybe 4 that we've had in the last 5 or 6 weeks, down to that, which is something we'll speak to the chairman about, and hopefully we can spend a little bit more on them in the summer so they last a little bit longer. They're always going to go, and it's a relatively new training ground, only 4 or 5 years, so it takes a while for all pitches to settle, and you have to keep doing a lot of maintenance on them. But we're also conscious it's a very expensive process as well, but we certainly need some work doing and to improve the surfaces for next season.
One from James Lim. Will we ever see Jordan Bowery not playing in defence and playing his normal position? With the defenders we've got, I would like to see him back in his natural position. And an expansion on that, is 3-5-2 your favourite formation? Because I think the 4-4-2 diamond we had last season worked well.
Yeah, Davis Keeler-Dunn was a massive part of the diamond that we played last season. So once we lost Davis, then you have to look at other options. Because he was so exceptional in that position, and we couldn't get anybody. Probably Caelan Vickers is the closest we've got to him coming in now. The 3-5-2 almost sort of just fits the personnel that we had, and we've had a lot of discussions in the today and last week as well. whether we change the formation, or is it the formation that's causing the results, or is it individual errors or whatever, which can be in any formation. If you concede goals from corners, that's got nothing to do with formation. It's just individuals not doing the jobs. And we think, when you look at the performance at Blackpool, even at home to Lincoln for an hour or so, we think we've played pretty well with that formation, and it suits the players that we've got. In terms of Jordan, I would argue and say, what is his normal position now? Because we see him more as a defender than we do as a forward. And I think he sees himself, more importantly, as a defender now. He didn't do too well on Sunday, but I think over the course of the last couple of seasons, when he's played at the back, we think he's done pretty well.
Michael Tomlinson, who lives in Mallorca, but who is a Snakes fan.
Lucky bugger.
Correct. He asks you, do you or any other managers that you know listen to the comments of the fans who know everything about football on social media?
Personally, no. I spend 0 time on social media. 0. I couldn't even, this is the way that we listen to you, and this is the way where you come and talk, or at games, when we know if we're not doing very well, you'll let us know. I don't have to go on social media to understand that. But these are the sorts of things where we can get, I think, a better feel for your feelings as well than reading some of that rubbish. I don't even know what, honestly, they are. I don't have accounts. I don't go on whatever, Twitter or whatever it is now. I don't think it has any. We say to the players at the start of the season, what benefit do you have? Tell us one benefit of going on it. And any player has ever yet to tell us a benefit of actually being on it. I don't see what there is as a professional footballer. I don't see a benefit.
Many players now can use them to raise their own profiles and that type of thing.
If you want to raise your own profile, play better on the pitch.
Touche, Mr. Clough. Okay. Errol Bickerton from Blidworth asks, to avoid giving away a penalty due to a dodgy handball decision, I have seen many defenders trying to play with hands and arms behind their backs. This is an unnatural stance and prevents them from doing their job properly. My question is, does this concern you? And do managers complain to the powers that be about this situation or any other things?
Yes, we do complain about many things and don't get much of a response. The handball one, I feel sorry because I don't think the referees know what's handball and what isn't now. In a natural position, up here, down, I really don't know what the rule is. Or I think the one against Lincoln where a lad came out and just shoved it with his arm, running out the penalty area, and they accept, yes, it hit his arm, but it wasn't deliberate. Well, no handball is deliberate unless somebody's on the line and actually saves one. No handball is deliberate. There was one given in a game over the weekend, I think, where a player had his arm up. Who was it? Forest, yeah. Was it Newcastle, was it? Yeah. Now, that's not deliberate handball, so why do they give that? If that's the excuse they're giving for not giving the handballs, well, he didn't do it deliberately. Well, that lad didn't do it deliberately. He just put his arm up and hit his arm. So they're very, very confused, as they are about a lot of issues. But they seem particularly confused about the handball rule. And we tell our players, don't do that. And I don't think you see our players, with their arms around behind the back, because it is unnatural and it does put you off balance. We just say, keep your hands by your side and don't turn your back.
Question from John, no surname sent in, but he asks about the younger players at the club. He says, other clubs at League 1 and League 2 level blood their under-19s and young professionals. We don't. We even loan in other clubs under 21s, maybe just because they're from a higher category. Our under 19s won their league last season, yet none of them have been anywhere near a matchday squad. Does Nigel think there's no value in having an academy, or is it that he thinks there's nobody good enough?
Well, that's not strictly true, because I think against Bradford in the Johnston's Paint or whatever, Bristol Street Motors, I think we had players played this season. Is that right?
Yeah. Maybe he's referring to the league.
Oh,
names.
to the league, yeah. Well, it's very, very difficult for our academy to be good enough and up to the standard to go into League One, because the standard of the first team has gone up over the last 3 or 4 years, and our academy is doing absolutely brilliantly. It's such a young academy. It takes 10 years to produce players to get up to the standard necessary. And we've noticed a massive improvement in the performance and the quality of the players in the academy. But at the moment, they're just not quite good enough. And the reason we take young Caelan Vickers from Brighton is because he's better than our young players. But you would expect him to be. He's from a Premier League club. You know, everything that they've got and the facilities and so on and everything. And they cast the net, you know, far and wide to bring players in from all over Europe and the world. So, you know, it makes sense to bring them in while we bide time for our academy. But our academy is doing brilliant. It is, honestly. It's just not quite there at the moment in terms of putting people in the first team. But it will. It'll produce 1 or 2 in the next few years, without a doubt. Everybody just has to be patient. When we went in at Derby, one of the jobs was to revamp the whole academy. And we set about doing that to try and secure, first of all, the local area of players that we got. We brought a couple of Darren Wasselin and his team in, and they produced players that kept that club afloat and have produced £50 million worth of sales, with the last one being Erin Cashin that just went for £9 million in January. Now that academy was already set up and working to a certain degree, had the facilities and everything, and it still took 5, 6, 7 years and then over 10, 12, 15 years to produce those players. It's a patience job with academies, it really is. And Richard Cooper and his staff are doing fantastic. We watch them as regular as we can, and we have noticed a big, big improvement in the standard of their performances. And their players come and train with us as well on a regular basis. When we need numbers, we'll get 1 or 2 in, and then we mix when we play reserve games. We'll mix a few first-team players in with the 21s. They're out on loan, a lot of them at the moment, getting good experience at lower league level. So that's all part of the process as well.
Final pre-submitted question before we open the questions to the floor, ladies and gentlemen, and it comes from John Tate. He says, I ran a Sunday league team for over 40 years. After a bad performance or result, I felt down for the next 48 hours. I've watched your interviews recently. You look very down. My question is, after bad results, how do you deal with the stress?
It's not so much stress, it's just abject disappointment and everything else that goes with it. We're all down in the dressing room, first of all, when we've lost another game or not, certainly lost, not won. And it's a very personal thing, how everybody deals with it, players, managers, coaches and everything. But our overwhelming thing is when we come off the pitch, home or away, is we've let you down. And that's what hurts the most. You won't believe, honestly, and we take it very, very personally, that feeling that we've let you down on the day. Sometimes not without, just with the result. Sometimes we play all right. Blackpool, I thought we had played extremely well and should have won the game. But when we haven't won, that's the overriding feeling, not a personal one. Personal one takes you to listen to Mr. Guardiola, who's never lost a game for 15 bloody years, and all of a sudden he's had to lose a few, and now all of a sudden he can't sleep at night. He's not eating well. He's suffering with everything else. 15 years he's won everything in sight. Welcome to the real world that the rest of us go through every bloody week. Welcome to the real world. And the next people that it affects with the players and us is our families, because we don't take it out on them, but they are a massive part of it. And when you go home and you can't even have a conversation, a meaningful conversation with your family, it's a dark, dark place. Tony Pulis, I remember talking to him, and he said he got to the stage where they were losing a few games and he had a little room in his house. He said, and when he got in after a game of defeat, he'd just go and sit in there, and his wife would open the door, put some food in for him, close the door again, and that would be it for the rest of the night. No, that's serious. It's almost like a cell where they put the food in for you, you eat, and that's it, because he couldn't face it. Know exactly how he feels.
Okay, over to you. Ben's going to come round with the microphone. If you could put the hand up in the traditional fashion. And who's going to ask the first question of the night to the manager? Got a hand down there, have we? Yeah, right at the back in the corner.
Evening, Nigel. Evening, Steve-O. So I've got a question I've wanted to ask. Since you've been at Mansfield, who are your top 3 most influential signings? Obviously, everyone in this room will have a list. Obviously, everyone's number 1 will be Lucas Akins. But I want to know your 3 top influential signings since you've been at
It's a
the
difficult
club.
one to just pick out 3 players because so many people have played a part. Lucas certainly, and Stephen Quinn, the 2 lads that we took from Burton, have had an influence. And that's why you take them as well, because you know the influence they have on and off the pitch, the standards that they set. So those 2 as much as anybody. I would say up until January this season was Lee Gregory as well. On a free transfer, who raised the bar of our strikers, and in the first half of the season got some unbelievably important goals. So Lucas and Quinny for coming in and getting us up towards promotion and everything from League Two. And I think Lee Gregory, quality of the striker is probably the best we've had in the last 4 years.
Thank you very much. Okay, who's got the next question? I think we've got one down here, have we? Yes, sir. Sorry, the lights are so bright. If you could stand up, and the mic's just coming round to you. What's your question for the manager?
Hi, Nigel. Hi, Steve-O. It doesn't get said enough, I don't think, Nigel, that you're doing an absolutely brilliant job. So thank you.
Thank you. It doesn't feel like it at the moment, I have to say.
Even more so. That's why it needs saying even more so now.
Thank you.
Because everything you've done, you've earned the right to have this bit of a struggle. You've earned that right. So, and we're behind you, 100% behind you. And my question is based on that. Hopefully, I want you to stay longer. I think everybody does. So, are you going to stay longer?
Well, that's the one question I was dreading because I can't answer. Because largely it's out of my hands. So I can't answer it. I can't answer that at the moment. We've had a fantastic... I know we're a bit past our sell-by date in terms of... I think the average tenure is now, 13 months? Is it less than that now for Football League managers? So I realise that we're a little bit past that, nearly 4.5 years. But we've had a fantastic 4.5 years. And if it does finish...
Okay, let's just keep it in order.
If it does, as I say, I can't answer that because things are up in the air at the moment until we can secure our future, and then hopefully we'll sit down and have a chat once that's done. But the relationship I think we've had for 4.5 years has been so special. It's been unbelievable. Once we got out of COVID, coming back in, and to see the crowds go from what we were getting 2.5, 3 or something like that, to 8.5, 9,000, and the travelling support. Very, very special relationship I think we've had over the last 4.5 years. And honestly, not just me, everybody, staff and everything, we can't thank you enough for that. And to stand up when we've not won for 10 games, oh, hell, it can't get much worse than... well, I hope it doesn't get worse than 10 games, although we had 14, didn't we, before? But to still have the support that we've had and in the room tonight, honestly, it means an awful lot. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, please only speak once invited. Who's got the next question?
And if you weren't wondering, it's not the drink talking either, because that's 0 whatever it bloody is. Because one of the worst decisions we made in our house, my wife wanted to do dry January. And I said, not a chance. January is a long, hard month. She said, well, let's do dry February. And I agreed on the basis that it was 3 days shorter than January. So, and then Steve-O said, we've got the forum on the 25th. I went, oh, fantastic. No drink, 10 games without a win. That's going to go well. Cheers, Steve-O.
Now you're doing well. Okay, yeah, if you could stand up, madam, if you're able to. What's your question?
I just wondered...
Could you put the microphone right close to the lip?
When we do corners, why is there nobody on the back?
There is, we don't put anybody. We have 4 runners, 4 attacking it. So 1 should be going towards the far post. Flinty usually does it as well.
But recently we're not. Why?
Well, I don't know. We go through them and everything. The sheets go up in the dressing room, and there's 4 runs that make. 1's across the near post, 2 across the front in the middle of the goal, and 1 at the far post.
think there was another hand right round here, Ben. Yeah, a person behind.
Hi, my name is Brendan and I play for the Under-9s Academy. What advice would you give to an academy player?
At Under-9s, enjoy it as much as you can.
Thank you.
Listen to your coaches, work as hard as you can, but more than anything, just enjoy playing football. And that's what our lads aren't doing as much because we're not winning at the moment, and that's what we've got to get back to, enjoying it.
Thank you. Okay, I think there was a hand in this region as well. Yes, young man.
See happening for the future in the 25-26 season?
Well, that's a little bit too far ahead at the moment. I hope we're still in League One, that's all I can say. I hope we're in League One. That's the main aim, to try and stay in it. First time for 35 years. And to a man, no supporter has ever said anything to us different than that from the start of the season. Every single one that's come up has said, keep us in the league. Keep us in the league. And at the moment, it's tough. It's tough. It's like a perfect storm of injuries, things going against us and so on. It's like a perfect storm. We can't get a break anywhere. But it'll change. I think we've had our rough 10 games and hopefully it'll turn starting on Saturday. And we need 3 or 4 results, 4 or 5 results, and we're more than capable of doing that. It's tough with the people that we've got out, but I think we've got enough.
Okay, I think there was a hand perhaps round here. Yes, right at the front here. Mike's coming to you.
Good evening.
Stand up if you could,
Evening.
Steve.
Good evening. It's just a quick question about tactics, etc. When you watch a team that we're going to play and you look at the way they play, etc., I was wondering if you ever get caught out, if ever you've watched them and everything, and when they come on pitch and they start playing, you think, oh, that's not what we expected.
Not a lot, no, because we watched them 2 or 3 times. We watched them over the course of a season, and then obviously we've got all the video stuff and everything as well. So it's like Blackpool have always been 4-4-2, and then the change sort of 4-2-3-1. So we were aware that it might have been an outside possible chance of them doing that. So no, we've not been caught out too often. We've not dealt with it well enough, but we've been pretty much sure of what the opposition and right most of the time of what they were going to do. Sometimes positionally they change a little bit, right and left players switch and things like that. But formations, I think, have been pretty okay so far. Yeah. I think we've caught 1 or 2 out. I think when we went to Shrewsbury and we started the game, and I think we should have scored a couple early on. Gareth Ainsworth said afterwards, he said, we had no idea you were going to do that, and they had to change formation, I think, after 20 minutes, half an hour. Yeah, that's it. When the goalie goes down, they had to change to deal with that. So we try and just sometimes do something. And when we change within games as well, it's just when we're not really making progress, then we just try and switch it a little bit just to try and free something up or just to change something, just rather than keep going the same thing. And I thought when we changed on Sunday for 20 minutes or so, when we went to a diamond, it worked and we got a little bit more joy and a bit more on the ball.
We'll take a few more questions before our interval. And I think there was a hand there. Yes.
Hey, so I've heard from a few people that you go down the night before or the day before for away games. Just wondered if that was true, because if it's anything like me, I don't sleep well in someone else's bed or
Nope.
at a hotel, things like that. They also cost money that we could potentially use in players or anything. Can you just confirm if that's true or not?
Yeah, we have a time distance. If it's more than an hour and a half, 2 hours, then we will go the night before because you can't risk the traffic. A lot of the players don't like doing 2 hours on a bus before the game, so it's a preparation thing as much as anything. That's the right thing to do, and we're aware that it's expensive, and it's gone up even more recently, especially when we go down south. Costs a fortune in hotels, but I don't think you can risk traffic these days, getting caught or something, being late for a game. And as I say, most of the players would rather be settled and within 15 minutes of the stadium the night before. So that's why we do it, really.
Let's head to the back for our next question. If you could stand, that'd be great.
Hi, Nigel. Hi. Right. Just a quick one. I think everybody in here will agree that we're surpassing all expectations so far. If you'd have said at the beginning of the season that we'd be sat where we are now, majority of Mansfield fans would have bit your hand off. So I think with the injuries and everything else, now obviously 5th bottom staying up is the main thing, But where do you see, personally, do you see as a realistic aim for the remainder of the season? Where would you be happy with finishing?
I'll take fifth bottom now.
I'd say apart from that, but realistically, with what we have left, do you think we could finish higher?
Yes, we can, but survival's the aim. So if you finish fifth bottom or 14th in the league, it's still survival, and that's the aim. So wherever it is, just to stay out that bottom four.
Brilliant, thank you.
Nothing.
Okay, where's our next question at? Yeah, right at the back.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? One thing for Nigel, just a question. He's been unbelievable for Mansfield. I think everyone agrees he's been unbelievable for Mansfield. And I just wondered what his plans were for the next 3 or 4 years. Because Nigel, we would all have you here for the next 10, 15, I think. But we want to know what your plans are for the next 3 or 4 years, because we love you, Nigel.
Thank you. Well, I've got a slight problem with the 3 or 4 years, because I've been married 35 years and I won't be married for 37 if I'm still in football management in a few years' time. I can tell you that. I did actually suggest to my wife when I said, I think we could do another 5 or 6 years. She said, you can, but you'll be on your own. So, no, hopefully we can just stay up and then we can sit down and have a good chat and sort something out. Because we like it. Honestly, we enjoy it here. We like it. We like being here.
Okay, let's take one more question before our break, and it's right at the back there in the far left corner.
Evening, everyone. You, Nigel, what advice would your old man have today if he was here, Nick?
I missed a little bit there.
If your old man was here today, what advice would he give to you?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I think his first thing would be get a clean sheet. And that's what we've been desperate for. Get a clean sheet and then start from there, build from there, because he was obsessed with those, and get a couple of 0-0s if necessary, and then you take it from there. Stop around and get a result. People assume he always said go out and win, go out and win. He didn't. He just said go and get a result, which could mean a draw, could mean anything. Don't lose. Go and get a result. That's what he used to say to us wherever we went. Old Trafford, Highbury, wherever in those days. Just go and get a result. That was the main thing.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your questions in this first half. We're going to have a 10 to 15 minute break. At the start of the second half, we've got director Sid Pepper on the stage, and he's going to update us all on the latest developments on the Bishop Street stand. The manager will then come back on afterwards to answer any more of your questions. So we'll see you in 10 to 15 minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to draw the raffle, the SSA raffle. If you could settle down, please. The manager's going to pull some lucky tickets from the tombola here. Gaffer, if you want to stick your hand in here. So the first winning ticket is going to be pulled out from the manager. And this is for a signed calendar by all the first team squad. What's the winning ticket?
650.
Green 650. Who's got green 650? Hand up. Yeah, gentleman at the back. Give him a big hand. Come on up, sir. You've won the calendar. Here's your calendar. Signed by all the first team players. There you are. Well done. Next ticket, if you please. This is for a Stag's Pebble. Not sure what that is. 635. Green, 635. Who's got that? Stick your hand up. Yeah, gentleman at the back. Give him a round of applause as well. He's won the Pebble. Pebble. Don't know what that is. Don't know. Could be anything in there. I don't think it's an actual pebble. I think it's... is it? All right. Sorry about that. Third prize is this Stags for Life hat. And the winning number is quite scrunched up. Here we go. This one's pink and it's
454.
454. Who's got pink 454? You've won the hat. Yes, it's this young man here. Give him a big hand. Well done. Now you keep that. We believe you. Okay. Gaffer, we don't usually do... That's the lot. That's all the 3 prizes. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks to the SSA for that. We don't usually do requests, but we have got the... Where are you going? Yeah. Could you read this out?
Not without my glasses. No, you haven't got worse eyes than you.
Okay. Can you read that?
No.
Okay. I'll read it on your behalf. A gentleman has asked me to ask the manager to wish Alfie Foster a very happy 15th birthday. He's in the room today, and it's his birthday today.
Happy birthday. Now I can read it. Now you've told me.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Alfie, from all of us at Mansfield Town Football Club. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's crack on with the start of the second half, and as promised, we're going to get an update now on the renovation of the Bishop Street stand. So would you welcome, please, Director Sid Pepper. Sid, good evening. Please take a seat.
Is it working?
Yeah, good to have you with us. So, what update have you got for us of note? Give us the latest.
Well, it's moving on every day.
If you could hold the mic right close to the lip.
I'm sorry about that. Am I all right at that?
Perfect.
Thank you. Every day something is happening, and it is now out of the ground, so you can all witness this yourselves. I'm pleased to say the toilets are getting on very well, and that will be a significant improvement on the previous stand because it's all now going to be level. The only drawback is less able people and ladies will have to go into a temporary facility at the top, but the guys, we've got excellent toilets in what was the original area. And then when that's done, we put the roof on, then we can put the rest of the steel on. If you've noticed, we've got steel either side, there's a gap in the middle. The reason for that is we can't put the steels across the bottom yet because there's nothing to support them until that's done.
Okay, we had a few questions for you sent in by email. The first is from Bill Taylor in Mansfield. Bill asks, in hindsight, would it not have been better to demolish the Bishop Street stand and start from scratch?
I love this one. I really love this one. And you're right, there is a view of that. But the point being is, that'll never happen. That would have never happened. If I hadn't been daft enough or brave enough to take it on, you'd still be stood looking at an eyesore. Now, the thing with the eyesore, it's 100 years old. As we've now taken it down, we've come across some very serious dereliction of the structure, which wouldn't have gone much more years before it collapsed. So I'm clear in my own mind, by doing what we've done, we've stopped something happening in the future, which would not have been very nice. Now, also, it would have cost at least £500,000 to take it down and build a retaining wall. There has to be a retaining wall between the ground and the top of Bishop Street. I mean, everybody knows the proximity, it would not have stood. So you're talking £500,000 just to get back to a piece of land which is not wide enough to put a proper stand on. You know, it doesn't matter where you go. Where did I go? Go Stockport. They've got a stand without a roof on that's a similar width, and it's just a joke. You can't get any height. So therefore, you've got sightline issues, all sorts of problems, and I think that we were better doing what we're doing. Yes, it's taking a bit longer than what I would have liked because we keep finding problems, and it's like a gift that keeps on giving. It was only the other week that we found that some columns were virtually corroded through about 3 meters off the ground. Well, I couldn't get my head around this. How can steel corrode through at that level? And it was something to do with when it was originally built, the flashing wasn't done right, so it sits there in water and has done for 90 years. Now, we've overcome that problem, could have done without it, and to be fair, it didn't delay the project. Some of the other problems we've had to come across has caused delays, but that hasn't caused a delay. We've done it. They're getting on well with the toilets. The roof goes on, as I said, hopefully this week. Then we can put the steel in to finish the terracing. That steel that you see will be supporting the new terracing where it was previously in wood. Then the last problem is then overcoating. This was always a bit naughty for me. Overcoating the existing terracing, which is not the right rise and go. I mean, they're arguing with me over 20 and 30 mil. It has been disappointing, but SAG have to give everything the approval. And if they won't let us do something, then they do it for good reasons, and we have to then provide what they want, and that's what they're going to get.
Okay, questions from Martin Yates via email. What was the original estimate for the project? And what is the revised estimate for the project?
What are we talking, time or money?
Well, I think he's talking money.
Well, it's not for me to declare what it's costing. It's costing a lot of money. We're talking several £100,000. That's for other people to decide what they want to pass on. From my point of view, the transparency is such that you ought to be told. But it's an awful lot of money. Again, you come back to the point, well, why did we do that? Why didn't we knock it down? It's still cheaper and quicker to do what we're doing. Now, I made a commitment that it would be open for Christmas, and I'm disappointed that we've not achieved that. I've still given myself a target of before the end of the season. Because if you don't have drive, if you don't have ambition, if you don't have a target, then you're never going to achieve it. So I still believe that's possible. We need a fair wind to do that. But what you've got to understand is all the cost, all the time, and all the money has gone in putting concrete underneath the stand. Can't tell you how difficult that's been. And I'll give you the analogy. When we do phase 2, which is a new build, it'll be built properly. The land will be cleared, it will be concreted, and we'll put steel up and it'll fly. Can't do that with what we've done here. Everything has to come from this end, Quarry Lane. And that's everything's been handballed, everything's been taken down by hand, the steelwork's been taken down by hand, concrete, they've used a concrete pump, thank goodness, but everything else has been done by hand. So it's going to cost more than what we hoped because the job has ended up more than what we hoped. But we've had to deal with the problems that we've come across. But I can tell you that John is aware and is supporting it. He's going to look to you lot for a few extra quid, I've no doubt. But the point being, it's several £100,000, yes.
One more for you, Sid, from Martin Yates. He asks, who carried out the original survey for the project and what inspection pits were carried out?
Now, that's an intelligent question. That was the very first job that I did. This is why I was asked to become a director, because of my contacts in steelwork. So I had a very good consulting engineer visit the stand to tell me that it was basically viable. Had it not been viable, then, you know, we'd still be looking at an eyesore. But he said it was viable. Obviously, then, as we've unearthed stuff like we did with these columns, nobody could have known what was inside the brickwork until we took the brickwork out. When we took the brickwork out, it revealed this horrendous break in the columns, which wouldn't have stood much longer, I can assure you. But it was a relatively easy job to overcome. So that was a sensible question from somebody because it was the very, very first job that I had to do and had to commission before the decision was made, or I made the decision that it was possible to do.
Question from James Lim. He asks about toilets and when phase 1 is going to be complete. You've answered that earlier. He asks about refreshment stations. Will there be any refreshment stations? What will they be like?
Well, there'll have to be temporary ones on the ground where phase 2 is going to go. That's going to be a good level ground because we took the bank out, if you can all remember. Excuse me. The horrible tree and the big bank. That's all gone. That will be levelled, and on that will be a fan zone until it's broken down for the phase 2.
Last one from James Lim. What will the car park access and the access to Bishop Street be like?
Oh, that's well above my pay grade, that. I don't know how you got down Bishop Street. I don't know how anybody gets down Bishop Street. We've not been able to do anything off Bishop Street. So, no, Bishop Street won't exist as an entry point. There will be an emergency exit there, which would be foolish not to use, but there's no plans to use that street. Now, we are having to do plans to get approval from SAG onto how we enter and leave. But I think there's plenty of room to do that because those of you that's come in longer than me are well aware that there's turnstiles and steps at that end anyway. So we'll be using what exists as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know what talking about now, 500 people, it's not really going to be a problem.
Thank you, Sid. Okay, over to you guys. Who's got a question for Sid Pepper? First hand up in the in the usual fashion. I think there's a hand up down here near the front. If you could stand up so we can see you, sir, that'd be fantastic. The mic's coming to you. What's your question for Sid Pepper?
When the new stand's completed, will we be getting the clock put back?
Absolutely, there's no question about that. I thought Steve had nicked it, but he hasn't. He's kept it. It's in his garage. It means the world to him, and nothing would please me more than my task tomorrow being able to put that back up. So yes, it will be up. But it's a bit like the stand, really. It's not a particularly attractive clock, is it? But it means something. And the stand itself is not an attractive stand. Never will be in a million years. But it'll be newish because we'll have new cladding. It'll look nicer. And then we'll have that clock in the middle. Thank you.
Will the access to the stand be from Quarry Lane end?
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there another hand in this region? Or yes, person there, third or fourth row in. If you could stand up again, that'd be fantastic. And over to you.
Good evening, Sid.
How are you?
We've known each other a long, long time. You are straight John Bull. Your hands are tied with some of your answers tonight, but can you just share with us how many more thousands is that stand costing than the DKD money?
Now, I'm not here to talk finances. That's why I was reluctant to give you a final figure on the stand. But it was fair to admit that it's a lot of money, as in fact any stand would be. How it's financed, how the chairman finances, what he's done with the DKD money, that's way, way above my pay grade again. That's two questions tonight that cannot answer, I've no knowledge of. But I'm grateful that you've been able to remind everybody that I am straight and I try to tell it as it is. So thank you for that.
Okay, we've got a question coming from the very back row here. If you could stand up, if you're able to.
Evening, Sid.
Evening.
Just a quick question, really, about the stand. My thoughts and a few fans' thoughts are, why do we need to put home fans in it? Can we not just rip the roof off? I've been to like Stockport.
Yes, I agree.
Places like that where not two thoughts are given to away fans. And as harsh as it sounds, my personal opinion is home fans belong in a north and south. They belong behind the goals cheering on the Stags. I just think that middle bit should be for away fans. And I don't know if you've had many conversations about it, but realistically, my personal opinion, I know I'm not in charge of the club, but we should be giving that away fans and be giving them the bare minimum because I know
what you're saying. Because
I know it's amusing, but Phil Mill is home of Mansfield. It's not home of away fans.
No.
It's if they come and enjoy it, great. But if they don't, they don't. For me, Stag should be north and south. And I just feel that that should have been given to away fans.
That could still happen. This all started, John initially wanted it to be an all-standing stand. But we couldn't do that in the end because the sight lines were such we'd even lose another 3 tiers of terracing. So that's why it's all seated. The principle about whether you put the away fans on that side, that's a personal view of mine. I think that's what they should go. But that can still happen, can't it? I mean, let me build the stand first or get it finished, and then the club can decide where it wants to put people. But I agree with you. I've really only started taking an interest in visiting other grounds in recent years, and I was very disappointed with Stockport's considering their pedigree. And you're right, it's a similar size to Bishop Street, no width at all, so it's not very high, is it? And there's no roof on it. I'm thinking to myself, well, if we can get away with that, this makes life a lot easier
exactly.
for me.
That's a question. Let's be honest. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but it wouldn't look very nice, would it? I mean, basically, I think we've got a nice stadium here. And it's always been lacking on that side. When that's done and knobbed up and it looks a lot nicer, then it'll be equal to anybody's, apart from Rotherham probably, and Milton Keynes. But I mean, they're music venues, so that doesn't count, does it? So I thought Peterborough wasn't particularly impressive, Stockport certainly wasn't, and Mansfield is up there with them. And by the time we finish Bishop Street, together with the extension, we'll have a ground that's equal to anybody's in the division. Full stop. And
is it something you would push for when you build this and you look at it from your point of view, because you're building this? would you look at it and think, actually, you know what, I'll put away fans there? Because realistically, we all know what away days are about. We all go home and away following Mansfield. Would you think, actually, you know what, I'll stick away fans in there because there's less liable to get an atmosphere in there? You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, and I would agree with you. But also, you've got to bear in mind that the final decision on this would come from SAG, because police will insist on how you get the fans away. So really, the natural end is that end. It's very narrow, because also, this has been shown on the video several times. It's so narrow up there. That stand is narrower at one end than the other. It's not level. It's not parallel. Nothing's right about it. And it gets tighter towards that end. So how you get people to disperse becomes a SAG issue. And it very well may be that whilst the club may wish to make Bishop Street away stands, it makes sense to me. But if you can't police it, if you can't control it, it ain't going to happen.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go to the corner again.
Evening, Sid. You all right?
All right.
I think the videos have been really transparent. I've really appreciated that. And I think you've been really honest about the problems that you've encountered.
Thank you.
The question I had is probably a daft one, but my first experience of coming here was as a 5-year-old a few years ago in the Bishop Street stand. And I just wondered if there's any prospect of it being used as a family stand again, or whether I'm living in the past with that one.
Well, I see no reason why not. But again, this is all to do with the workings of the ground, and they haven't had the benefit of the fourth stand for so many years that they've almost forgotten about it. It doesn't exist in the plan. I just want to put the stand back into the plan so that the club and its officials can decide how best to use it for the benefit of the fans. I can tell you the toilets are going to be almost amazing, really. So that's a key thing for me, particularly if you're making it a family stand. But it's not for me to say that. But the important things, and thank you for your kind comments about the videos, it's been important to me. The main reason why I wanted to do the videos, and Steve and Zeke did a fantastic job, I've got to really hand it to them, is that basically, in having the problems, it was going to cause a delay. And if we weren't transparent, people would think, well, he's not got any money, he's not spending the money. And I couldn't have anything reflecting back on John. He's been nothing but supportive. So the fact that it seemed to be dragging on, people could assume, oh, he stopped it because he hadn't got any money or something like that. It's been delayed because of immense problems. I can say, though, there's never been less than 2 men on site since we started back in May. So we can't do any more than that.
Okay, I think there was a hand down here. I think there was a hand down here, was there? Did I see a hand? No, must be imagining. Oh, yeah, there is, right at the back. Could you stand up?
It's it.
Evening.
Once Bishop's Street completed, has there been any talk of any future developments in any other stands?
Well, I've also covered this in the video several times. That is not the end of the development of the ground. We could easily fill the corners in. Those of you that go to other grounds, that's what they tend to do now. There's no gaps between them. And doing the corners would actually have been easier than doing Bishop Street. But you've still got to think long term. Bishop Street as it was, even when it wasn't being used as a stand, yes, was still a camera pod. On not really a very good stand, but anyway, it worked out all right. But Sky needed 8 metres, so Sky could not have gone in there. Even if we'd have said, oh, the stand's not going to fall down, and we've got a camera position, let's live with that, it would not have been used by Sky. So where Sky is now, which is behind the directors, as you all know, for me, works out very, very well. Doesn't bother the directors, it doesn't bother our standing, it doesn't bother those that sit behind. And that works out very, very well. And obviously, we're enjoying the extra revenue from Sky. So that's got to benefit the club. So thank you.
Okay, if we could settle down just a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear what Sid's got to say. And who's got the next question for Sid Pepper?
Hi, Sid.
Hi.
Do you still have plans to build corporate boxes on the top of the stand?
Yes.
So that's still part of the plan?
That's still part of the plan. You will recall that in order for us to get any traction on the stand at all, we were going to do it all in one go. But it made no sense whatsoever, as has been proven to be the case. So the more difficult phase is the phase we're doing now. Phase 2 is easy because we can get to it. It's only an extension of what you've already got, but is slightly wider. The ground is slightly wider at that point, and we can go slightly higher, so we'll get another 2 row of terraces. But the difficult one from the podiums would be for camera location and also for pods on the top. Now that's going to need a huge beam across to take the weight of that, because that stand there will not take any weight of anything. It'll stand itself up, and it would have taken solar panels, because John actually said, could we have some solar panels on there? I said, well, yes, you could, but you know, when the ball goes on there, it'll break every one of them. So that wasn't starter for 10, was it? You know what I mean? But with one thing I do want to put up on there is a net to catch the bloody balls, because it's costing us too much money. Dunelm can't keep having them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So the sky gantry.
Yes.
That's going to remain permanently in the Ian Greaves stand, so it won't be transferred back.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, I said it would have to be transferred.
All right.
back.
So it's going to be transferred back.
I mean,
to the Bishop Street.
Yeah, if we're in the division that we intend to remain in. I'm sure people would benefit from another camera angle, because they're basically having to do everything on this one side. I'm saying it works out perfectly well. It's a big enough podium to do it with, and it doesn't affect what we're doing or what the fans are doing, but we're better off over there. And that was the other point. Somebody was saying, shall we put a roof on it? Shall we not put a roof? Let's have a bloody nice stadium. You know what I mean? If it puts a roof on it, then it becomes a nice stadium. If you don't put a roof on it, you've got Stockport. Who wants to be Stockport?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind Stockport's money, but that's another matter.
Yes, no, very much so.
Thank you. I think there was one more question down here, right at the front. Question right at the front. Yeah, skip over the stage, Ben, you're fine. Last question for Sid Pepper. There were no more, were there? Okay,
no,
last question for Sid.
You want Nigel back.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I just ask you, just for cosmetic reasons, you said that it looks an eyesore at the moment. What about, you know, when they're COVID and they had all the sheets up of the fans' faces?
Yes.
Couldn't we put the sheets up so as it's all looks like we've got fans over there?
Well, it's a very good point. It is an eyesore. And, of course, it's right in the eye line, or the camera line, of Sky. Yeah. So, you know, this is Mansfield, isn't it? And we heard what they were singing on Sunday, and I had to agree with them. We are, or we were. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat it. It's a 4-letter word. But you're right. We could have made it look nice. I could have done the holes in the roof. They don't look nice, do they? No. But we know we've got to re-roof it. So why just patch it up? Now, the other thing is, one of the more difficult jobs we've got to do is we've got to shot plaster steelwork. Now, that's going to go everywhere. So I'm leaving the existing sheets on, so then we blast it, we can control the shot, so it's not going all the way down the street and coming onto the patch. So whilst it had been nice to improve the view of it, it's a very good point you make, but it would just delay matters even further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your appreciation, ladies and gentlemen, for Sid Pepper.
Thank you, Sid.
Top man. And keep the applause going, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome back the manager, Nigel Clough.
Thanks.
Okay, back over to you. Who's got the next question for the manager? Hands up first. We got a question down here, did we? Is the question down here? At the back? Yeah, right at the back in the far corner. Microphone's heading to you, sir.
I'm glad I'm not doing that stand anyway. Wow.
Good evening. Right, Nigel, there's a group of us sit behind you in dugout.
Yep.
Well, right, I don't know if you hear us or not. We've tried to make ourselves audible. A question they've all asked me to ask you is, why do we never leave somebody up front when we're defending corners or free kicks in the box?
We did it on Sunday for the first time.
Occasionally, yes.
Yeah, we did it on Sunday, but the sort of setup that we have is somebody sort of on the corner of the box, sort of 10 yards back in a break-in position. So we're trying to sort of tempt people back in a little bit to break at them.
Yeah.
That's the
It
thinking.
was just what we
that's
see
the
is-
thinking. The setup.
Yeah.
I tell you how we do it. We have one in the near post hole, the near post, which is usually Quinny when he's fit, who's brilliant at it. We have a free one on the 6-yard box, whose job is just to go and head it. 5 people then markers, because usually we get 5 or 6 in there. 2 on the edge, and 1 on this staying up position, just outside about 10 yards from the 18-yard box. That's how we set it up.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question for the manager. Did we have a hand up round here? No? Maybe we should go further into the centre. I think we've got to go all the way around here, Ben. Oh, yeah, we'll go to this gentleman here just for sake of ease.
Hi, Nigel.
Hiya.
A few questions for you.
Just a few.
The first one, Hiram Boateng.
Yep.
Why is he not getting a start in the team?
Well, he hasn't played very well lately.
Okay.
In our opinion.
In your opinion?
In our opinion, he hasn't played very well lately. I thought he did quite well when he came on Sunday. Done well in training today, actually.
Right.
But he dipped a little bit in the last few weeks, as a few have. But he has as much as anybody.
Okay. Second point, we bought the lad in from Portsmouth, Ben Wayne.
Plymouth.
Yeah, sorry, Plymouth.
Yeah.
What's the situation with him? Because he's been here since the start of the season.
Yeah.
He's been sat on the bench. He's had a few, come on the pitch a few times.
Yeah.
What's the situation with him?
He's just behind the other strikers we've got, because our best 2, our first choice 2 by far were Lee Gregory and Will Evans. So he was behind them. We've got Lucas Akins as a third choice. Now we've got Jordan Rhodes. Now we've got Caelan Vickers, who plays up there as well. So he's a little bit just down the pecking order. He's tried his socks off and everything. Not quite had the impact that we'd hoped.
Has he actually asked to go back to Plymouth, or have we got him for the whole season?
Yeah, we've got him for the whole season. He could have gone back to Plymouth, but he couldn't have gone anywhere else, because they've got this stupid 3-club rule where you can't play for 3 clubs in a season. So he'd played, I think, and made an appearance for Plymouth before we took him. So he can only play for us and Plymouth this season.
Right, okay.
Which is a ridiculous rule and something they need to change.
Yeah. Okay, final point. Second half performances.
Yeah.
We tend to do, apart from, I think, Leyton Orient, we tend to do really well in the first half.
Yeah.
Then second half, I think Wrexham's a different story because of the team they've got, but second half, we seem to struggle a bit. We seem to get on the back foot, whereas in the first half, we seem to push forward more, create more chances. We really seem to be struggling second half.
I think a lot of it's to do with confidence at the moment. When we've played well in the first half and we've not got ahead at times. We did at Blackpool, but apart from that, we've not got ahead. And you won't sustain over the full 90 minutes a dominating performance. No team does. Orient 3-0 up against us, but second half didn't the same. So it's difficult to sustain it the way that we play. And it's not an intentional thing by any means. We try and set out exactly the same in the second half. Even when we're winning the game, we try and still go forward as much as we can. It's just that in football, the opposition are going to have a little period at times. Yeah. And when we have gone forward as much as we have, they come back into it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Is there a hand in this section? Yeah, we'll go to this gentleman here. And the microphone's heading your way.
I think we've got everybody from behind the dugout, haven't we? Yeah.
All right, Nigel. You say about the dressing room, whether people in there sort of lose faith in that. Who, in your view, is the sort of person in there to actually lift the dressing room, and is the sort of clown in the dressing room as well to make everybody laugh?
Oh, we've got a few clowns. Yeah, without that. Yeah. It is really an effort by several, team, especially at the moment. There's a few players in the team. Quinny's always very good for things like that. And it is the experienced ones who, lift in the younger ones as well, because they've been through it, before times during their career. So they know it will come out of it. So it's mainly the experienced ones that are doing the lifting at the moment of the squad. But it is, confidence is a massive factor in football, massive factor. And players, I think these days at all levels, are a lot more fragile than they used to be. And teams go on these runs where it seems very difficult to get out of it. It's not just us. I tell you, we were talking in the press this morning with Jake about Luton. Luton were unbelievable last season, battling in the Premier League, and everybody complimented them, how fantastic. They've come down into the Championship and they can't win a game in the Championship with players who played in the Premier League. It happens in football, Yeah, Leicester. It just happens in football sometimes. It's very difficult to stop the slide. It's very, very difficult.
Thank you. Yeah, hand just behind you, a couple of rows behind you. If you could stand up, brilliant.
Hi, Nigel. Mine was regarding player contracts. I was having a look the other day and I saw there was only sort of 6 or 7 contracted for next season. I wondered if that was something you was looking into, or is that sort of league dependent on what division we're in?
Very much league dependent. What we do have is quite a few options on players. So that'll just tell you when the contracts are up. It won't tell you if we've got an option on them or not. So on top of the 6 or 7 that are contracted, I think we'll have options on another 8 or 9 players. So it's very much in the club's hands then whether we want to keep them or not. So they never. I don't know why they don't. When you look up players and it is the same, they don't specify whether it's a club option or not. But yeah, we do have that. The chairman likes to put an option in to give us that flexibility.
Next question at the back.
It's maybe a bit of a silly one, but my 8-year-old daughter comes every week, Quarry Lane End, and win, lose or draw, she makes me take her down to where the players come off and you come off, and she's there clapping and waving. She's convinced that Flinty's waved at her, you've waved at her. I'm not sure that's true, but in a generic, broader sense, how aware are you of the crowd and the support that we're trying to give you even when we're struggling?
Unbelievable, yeah. Brilliant. Tried to say, to go the run that we've had, and it happened 3 or 4 years ago when you did it against Port Vale, when we've been to Northampton on the Saturday and been absolute rubbish and lost 2-0, and people were rightfully unhappy. And then we came, I think, on the Tuesday night and played Port Vale. Was it the Tuesday? And we were brilliant. We drew 1-1, missed a penalty. I think Hawks missed a penalty, didn't he? And should have won the game. And he gave us a standing ovation, despite being 13 games without a win. And for people to still stay behind when we've lost, at home and everything recently, I can't tell you how much it means to us and how much it gives us optimism going forward. Honestly, that you stick with us, and all our hope is, I hope you can do it for the next 14 games. Just stick with us. We know we're not far away. When we can get our team out on the pitch, I think we've proved in the first half of the season we can compete at this level. When we haven't got the team out, it's bloody hard work winning games, honestly. It's hard work. Not losing them is hard work. But just stick with us and we'll try and get it through. What we've done in the last 4 years, whatever we've achieved, I know what we've done it together. We've been through the crap times when we all went to Wembley and we cried. When we went to Wembley, it absolutely devastated everybody. Devastated us that day. To get to Wembley, unbelievable times and everything the second half of that season. And then we regrouped, missed out by 1 goal the year after. Then we got our automatic, and now we're struggling to stay in the league. It's surviving, just striving to stay in the league, fighting to stay in the league. And the only best chance we've got is together. Sorry, and that's the whole club as well. That's from the chairman down. And that's why I hope that openness comes where Sid comes and talks to you about the stand. Open. And right from the top down, we want to level with you and we want to be honest with you.
Let's go down here for the next question. The gentleman with the bobble hat on.
Yeah, good evening, Nigel.
Evening.
Again, I just want to echo my friend's point to you earlier.
Thank you.
We're right behind you.
Thank you.
What's going forward, 14 games, where do you think, because I've done some maths on the last seasons to 2018, 2019, and it's average on 45 and 46 to stay up. Where do you think we're going to be?
I always use 50.
You use 50?
Yeah, I use 50. Right, you can still go down on 50.
Yeah, there was one season with 50.
Season. It's extremely rare. Yeah. And I think if you can get to 50, you're never 100%, but as near as damn it.
Yeah, thank you, and keep up the good work, and give the lads a round of applause for us.
We will do. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's take a few more questions. We've got the gentleman at the back there.
Hi, Nigel. So mentality and morality are a big thing in football. With the overachieving start to the season, and the unjust period that followed after that with some of the big games that we lost, in the last few minutes or drew. How do you expect to turn it around to keep us in the league this season?
Well, I hope that experience counts for something, like going back to the Northampton game and everything when we went 14 without a win, that it will turn. It will turn. We've got to keep doing the right things, and we've got to keep approaching it. And it's very easy to sit here and say we've got to play with confidence, we've got to play with freedom. When you're losing games, it's one of the most difficult things to do. That's what pleased us most about the Blackpool performance, was we went and played with freedom at Blackpool. And we've got to get back to doing that as much as we can. I thought we played pretty well at home to Lincoln for an hour, 70 minutes, and 2 in the last 10 minutes gave us a misleading scoreline. But I thought we played all right. And it was funny because Gary Crosby went to watch Lincoln Burton on Saturday. You know what he said? He said Lincoln couldn't raise a leg because they were knackered from having the run around by us on the Tuesday night. Not a patch on the performance against us. Not a patch. And that happens a lot as well. They came to us, they got the goal, defended it as though their lives depended. The next game, they lose 1-0 at home to Burton in the 92nd minute because they're knackered, because we've given them a run around. But we've just got to get back to playing with a bit more freedom as much as we can and get a result. By hook or by crook, get a result.
There's a hand down here, Ben. This gentleman here.
Hi, Nigel. Just wanted to ask, in the all 4 years you've been managing us, what's your own personal favourite game, would you say?
That's a tester. We've had a good few. We've had a good few. I think probably it has to be the MK Dons game.
That's my own personal favourite.
Yeah. Although it didn't officially get us there, it was as near as, damn it. Yeah. And we knew we were there, at MK Dons. That's why Accrington was good and everything, but it was a little bit of an anticlimax for us because I thought we knew we'd done it on the Saturday. Yeah. And all the celebrate. It was brilliant though to do it here and celebrate. But I think the MK Dons game, going 1-0 down as well, and then scoring the 4 goals, and the memories that you had for a few years
previously.
Yeah. I think the whole package of that day makes it that one.
So, thank you.
Let's take a couple more for the manager, ladies and gentlemen. Got a few more hands up. Time is passing. And this gentleman here in the white, Ben, or is there somebody at the back?
Joe, sorry, just a little bit different, this one. If you could bring 3 players you've coached before you came to Mansfield to try to steady the ship and push us on this season, can you think off the top of your head of 3 players who could do this for you?
Yes.
Go for it.
Sean Barker, Jake Buxton and Craig Bryson.
Okay, brilliant. Bucko, Mansfield boy, played for us as well. And just one more. Sorry to bother you a bit more, but 3 players you played with, the 3 best players that you played with during your playing career. Can you give me that one as well, please?
Stuart Pearce, Des Walker, and it'd have to be one of the midfielders. It would be a toss-up between Roy Keane, Steve Hodge, Neil Webb, somebody like that.
Some players there, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we've got a couple of hands here, Ben. Whoever gets the mic first. Stand up if you can.
Hi, Nigel. Just a quick question from the Jolly Boys that we come to nearly every game and away games. Is asking, do you ever feel the electricity in the air like the fans do and helps cheer the team on?
Definitely. Definitely, we feel it. There's a certain atmosphere, I don't know what it is. We like night games. Under the lights, there seems to be a better atmosphere sometimes with night matches, but we definitely feel it. We feel the buzz when you walk out the tunnel and the main stand's full and everything, and the 2 ends are full. We feel that straight away. And an opposition do as well. It might not seem like it lately, but they feel it as well. When that main stand's all standing up and cheering us when we go out and everything, we definitely feel it.
Okay, there was a gentleman. Yeah, you've got the mic.
I have indeed. Nigel, if I may say, it's lovely to speak to the Son of God. And I think it was a Shrewsbury game where things didn't go quite well. And I noticed towards the end, as the players were coming off, there was a lot of fans, well, not a lot, quite a few, being very abusive to the players. And that really sickened us. We follow you everywhere. The Jolly Boys, we're all a bit crazy, to say the least. But to see people abusing the players, it's just not on.
we didn't hear that because we're, I think, a distance, and I think there must have been so few. We heard a few grumbles and a few boos and everything, but I'm not aware of hearing the abuse to the players.
Yeah.
So if there was, and it's never nice, but if there's any time it's a little bit understandable. It's when you're 1-0 up against 10 men and you don't bloody get anything out of the game. So if there's ever a time, but it's not ideal by any means. I think one of the things why you've stuck with us, I think whichever team we put out there, you'll see lads, honest players, working their socks off. I don't think they can be accused of not doing that.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Okay, we've got a hand at the back, have we? We've got one at the front here. Let's go to the back. Let's have the last few questions for the manager.
Hi, Nigel. Sorry to bother you with another question. Just a quick one. Obviously, I sit in Block C. You're behind Block D. You hear quite a lot of negative opinions of fans. So my question is, me and my little boy follow Mansfield home and away. Why do you think the fans are more negative at home than they are away? I look at Blackpool, I look at Crawley, I look at Leyton Orient, a 3-0 loss at Leyton Orient, fans are clapping you off. Yeah. At home, you don't get that. You seem to get abuse behind the bench, and that's
I don't
that's
hear
just
too
from
much.
my view.
Honestly, I don't hear too much. I think the lads who sit behind the dugout, sometimes we have a little bit of a laugh. They'll tell you. And I turn around, because when you're walking back from the edge of the pitch and everything, you see the faces when we missed a chance or when the own goal goes in after 2 minutes on. It's almost laughable. If it wasn't serious, you just laugh and go, what the hell are we going to do now, So I'm not really aware of too much coming from behind the dugouts, certainly in recent times. And I think I don't know, when you go away from home, I don't know. You'd have to tell me. Obviously, there's less away fans when you do go. If we've got a couple of thousand as opposed to 7 or 8. But honestly, I can't believe how you. And so delighted that you've stuck with us even in this bad run. And we're not aware. We're aware of a few grumbles and everything. But when I think the understanding that you've got of our position. And Henry was talking about, you know what you see. And when we're playing at home to Lincoln and we're playing all right, and then you lose Bailey before the game, and then 3 defenders go off injured, and you think, well, that's 4 defenders. You all understand. You say, oh, hell, what we're meant to do now? And we had a patched up team. They know that. I know. They know. Honestly, we know it. We know it. I think Deji did an interview a couple of months ago where he said, we talk about it. You remember, I think you did that one with Deji, and I just saw a 30-second clip of it, and he said, we talk about it. You asked him about the supporters after games and everything, and we do discuss it, the players and everything, and honestly, we asked the players as well, say, all the clubs you've played for, have you had anything like this? No. They know. Don't worry, they know. We understand.
Okay, who's not asked the manager a question? Lady at the front. Lady at the front, we've got a hand there. We've got any others? Then we'll wrap it up. Last one. And gentleman there. Let's take the last 4 then. Last 4. Time is passing.
Hi, Nigel.
Last 4?
Last 4 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting with this lady.
Going back to the yellow cards, I've noticed our team, when they have a tackle and they fall over, ours jump straight back up and carry on with the game. Whereas the other side seem to roll around on the grass a lot, and we get the yellow card.
We try and be honest.
But it's not paying off, is it?
No, it's not. But I'd rather be honest. And tell the players, if you're not hurt, if you touch, go. It's like in penalty area, we say, if somebody touches, you go down. If nobody touches, you don't go down. And even going into the corner flag, somebody did it with about 8 on 82 minutes the other week against us or whatever. I don't want our teams to do that. If we're in the last minute or something, 30 seconds, do it. But I don't want to go in the corner flag. Try and score another goal, or something like that. I don't want to be like that. I want to be different. I want to be more honest than that.
Okay, thank you.
Every other team's doing it. Let's us be different.
Yeah, gentleman here.
Evening, Nigel. You said a few times in your interviews that we're too nice.
Yeah.
I wondered how you could sort of get that into players to make them a bit more like streetwise almost.
Difficult. It's like for corners. You know, we looked at the corners recently, and I thought we defended them, the Wrexham's corners, much better. We're getting wrestled every single time almost, and I think we've been given 1 or 2 penalties this season. And we're saying, you have to do that. That's the sort of thing that we have to do that other teams are doing to us. When was the last time we got a clear run, you know? When was the last time Will Evans wasn't, you know, a centre-half, sort of getting tight with him and everything? So that's the sort of thing that we've got to be a little bit better at. We've got nice players, but for 90 minutes on a Saturday, what we say to them is, don't be nice. Don't be nice. Just for an hour and a half. Be nice when you go home to your family afterwards and the day before. An hour and a half. Don't be nice.
So 2 more hands. So one over here. Yeah, we got any more that's, Josette, is that you? Yeah, the club's hygiene operative. You got a question?
Very short one, this is, and simple answer. Going back to last July, had the pleasure of going over to Portugal, watching you train. And this one particular night, Stephen Quinn came and sat at the side of me, and we chatted. And I said, you do know how much we wanted you to stay, don't you? He says, yes, I do, and it meant a lot. I says, it's your passion, Steve. I says, you've got so much passion for the game. His answer was, I wish you'd tell my wife that. But joking aside, it worked. And I'm a bit greedier than that. So, Nigel, 2 more seasons, please. 2 more seasons.
Well, for me or Quinny?
You. Oh, well, Quinny as well.
I thought you meant for Quinny at 38. I don't think he's doing that.
Last hand at the front here.
With officials, do they think that fans are not bothered about time wasting? Because essentially football's in the entertainment business. So, and you mentioned the flow of the game. The fans want to see, you know, the game flowing.
Yeah, I think they want to see 90 minutes of football.
They want to see 90 minutes of football.
Not 40 minutes or 50 minutes.
Yeah, last season, they started off saying, right, any time wasting, you're going to get a yellow card. You know, feigning in it, going to take a throw in and then leaving it for somebody else, kicking the ball away. It was all a yellow card. They're adding 10 minutes on at the end of every game for extra time. And then suddenly it just stopped. It just stopped.
You'd have to ask the people who make the laws of the game.
So why? Why was that the case?
I've no idea. I know one group that never gets asked, us. I've never been asked in 40 years, never been asked for an opinion on what we should do about timekeeping, things like that. I think the only thing is you should have a stop clock and play 240 minutes or something like that. And then every time the ball goes out of play, every time the game stops, you just stop the clock. And people would stop it because the only reason to do it is to time waste. So if they're not gaining anything, they wouldn't do it. Just stop the clock. And then you get your 40 minutes. When you pay your 25 quid, you get your 80 minutes or whatever of football. And you know I'm getting 80 minutes. You know, you got the cinema and the film says 1 hour 20, and it cuts off to 1 hour 5. You go, hold on a minute, I've paid for a 1 hour 20 film here. It's the same thing in the entertainment industry. You're entitled to get what you pay for.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're heading into the last couple of parts of the night, but for now, your appreciation for the manager, Nigel Clough.
Thank you.
You're not done yet. He's not going yet. Sit back down. Wait.
Hurry up.
Leave the standing ovation till the end. Okay. Time is passing. Yeah, I know you need the toilet. Just hang on. Time is passing, so we'll crack on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the chance now in the penultimate part of the night where one lucky contestant can win a prize in a traditional fashion. So what will happen is this. The manager, who's very good at general knowledge, will answer as many potluck questions as he can in 60 seconds, and one lucky supporter will do likewise. If the manager wins, the prizes go back in the club shop. If you win, you can get your chance to take one of them home. And they are a signed Stag shirt by all the squad, 2 tickets for a home league game this season, and a meal for 2 voucher in Sandy's Bar and Kitchen. So, first hand up, who's taking on the manager in the 60-second quiz shootout? Yeah, saw you at the back. Come on up. Yeah, him at the back. Give him a big hand. Give him a big hand. Hello, sir. Nice to see you. What's your name? Where'd you come from?
Graham from Forest Town.
Graham from Forest Town. Okay, just take a seat there. The gaffer's going to go first. No, not in my seat. Over there. They're the blue. Yeah, that seat over there, you know the chair? Yeah, that's the one. We'll call you back very shortly. The gaffer's going to go first. You did well last year, didn't you? I think you got maybe about 9.
I'd had a beer. I'm far better when I've had a beer.
Yeah,
far better.
Okay.
Clear ahead.
Yeah,
Clear ahead.
Get your excuses out the way. Okay, let's get 60 seconds on the clock. And I wish you the best of luck. Your time starts now. In football, who managed the England team in the 1998 World Cup finals?
Bobby Robson.
Glenn Hoddle. In the UK, the road signs that warn the road user are of what geometric shape?
Round.
Triangular. In geography...
Yeah, sorry, can you turn the music up a bit?
In geography, the vast region known as Siberia is mainly in which country?
Russia.
Correct. For which charity is Pudsey the Bear the symbol?
Children in Need.
Correct. In crime, what H is the term for a spectacular robbery or hold-up?
Heist.
Correct. In humans, what I is the inability to fall asleep?
Insomnia.
Correct. In the animal kingdom, what is the name given to a cross between a donkey and a zebra?
Yeah. Forgot. Pass.
Zonky. In a pub, a final drink consumed before leaving is described as one for the what?
Road.
Correct. Which day of the week comes last alphabetically?
Thursday.
Wednesday. On the Welsh flag, what colour is the dragon?
Red.
Correct. In spelling, how do you get 6? Oh, that's not bad. 6.
Rubbish.
6 isn't bad. Gaffer, do you want to exchange places with this gentleman, and he's going to try and beat 6?
Can I go for a wee now?
Yeah, make it quick. You've got a minute.
I will. I'll be quick.
Okay.
Not much to beat. I can't count to
Okay,
6.
take a seat. Take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. Just remind us of your name and where you came from.
Graham from Forest Town.
Graham from Forest Town. What do you like at potluck questions, Graham?
Rubbish. I don't know why I put my hand up.
Okay. And what are you going for? What eye have you got on the prize? Which prize?
I can't remember what they were.
Okay. Well,
something for my little girl, hopefully.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Well, there's a signed stag shirt there. I'm sure she'd like that, which you can frame. Okay, good luck. You've got to beat 6. And let's get another 60 seconds on the clock. Wish you the best of luck, Graham. Here we go. In spelling, the word salt is an anagram of which word meaning final?
Last.
Correct. How many teats does a cow have?
4.
Correct. In theatre, which musical features the song Food, Glorious Food?
Oliver.
Correct. No help, please. In 2013, who succeeded Alex Ferguson as manager of Manchester United?
David Moyes.
Correct. What calendar month has the shortest name?
May.
Correct. In food, which B is a colloquial term for sausages?
Bangers.
Correct. In words, what term is the US equivalent for a UK postcode?
Zip code.
Correct. In football, how many countries will host the 2026 World Cup?
3.
Correct. In geography, what is the only country that is also a continent?
Australia.
Correct. Which alcohol is traditionally used in a mojito?
Rum.
Correct. In history, which country sent the Armada to England?
Spain.
Correct. In language, what is the Latin word for king and also... I've started, so I'll finish. In language, what is the Latin word for king and is also a pet name for a dog? Finish it off in fine style if you could.
Pass.
It was Rex, but you did superbly. What did he get? 10? 11? Oh, what a score that is. Graham, you knocked it out the park there. Knocked it out the park. Okay. Graham, come with me and let's have a look at the prizes on offer. So we have the shirt, we have the vouchers. Which one do you want? Do you want the shirt or the vouchers?
It's got to be the shirt.
Got to be the shirt. Yeah, take the shirt. There you are. There you are, Graham. Well done. Okay, well done, Graham. Thank you. Gaffer, do you want to come back on stage? This is the very last part of the night. So earlier, Ben went round and asked our younger supporters in the audience to put their names in this tin here. And one supporter is going to be drawn out at random. The gaffer's going to ask him or her a question. If they get that right, they get their pick of the prizes as well. Okay, do you want to pick a name out of there? Who have we got? Has he ran off with the microphone? Oh, you've got it there. There you are.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. So we've got Brendan Clough. Brendan Clough? Where are you, Brendan? Come on up. Give Brendan a big hand. Show him some encouragement. Good to see you, Brendan. Come on over here. Okay, stand in the middle, face the audience. Brendan, question from the manager is this. If you get it right, you get your pick of the prizes. If not, you sit back down.
Right then. It's two answers. Who scored the 2 goals on the first day of the season at Barnsley?
Have a think about it. Have a think about it. And tell me when you've got an answer. Have a little think about it.
Stephen Quinn scored the first one. He is correct. Tell Steve-O, though, so he can do the mic. Who scored the second one? Can you remember?
Who are you going for?
Gregory.
Thought you might. Is that correct? It is. Come on over here. What do you want, Brendan? We've got a Castor goodie bag here. We've got a voucher for 2 tickets for a home league game this season. We've got Sandy's voucher. What do you want? What do you want? You want the match day tickets? We'll give him the goodie bag as well, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the match day tickets. Here you are. Here's the Castor goodie bag. Hopefully everything's stuck on nicely there. And enjoy. Give him a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out. Great to see so many of you here. Let's leave the manager with the final word of the evening. Nigel Clough, everyone.
I'll just say thank you the same. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for the last 4.5 years. And especially thank you for sticking with us in the last few weeks. Please try and do it in the next 2-3 months or whatever so we can get over that line together. Thank you again. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's the first time we've seen a standing ovation at any fans forum, certainly that I've been to. Thank you once again. We've got 14 games left to play. And just to echo what you've all said tonight, we're all right behind you in those last 14 games as one united club as we head towards the season's finale. Ladies and gentlemen, safe journey home. Good to see you. Starts at Burton on Saturday, 14 to go. For now, from me, Nigel, and everyone here. Good night, God bless.